Okay, so in looking at this setting organizer, I've actually written a setting for you to have as an example, the beginning of my story. Okay, and so when you actually get ready to write, you're going to include where, and also what you see, hear, taste, smell, and feel at the beginning of your story. Now, some of you have already worked on story beginnings, all right? Some of you, have written quite an amount, but I want you to actually go back and take a look at the beginning. Really ask yourself, what is the setting of your story? So I'm going to read to you my setting, and then we're going to take a look at how it fits in this organizer. Okay? So this is my example, and everyone will have a copy of this to be able to look at. It was a warm summer night in Moriya City, Ibaraki Prefecture, Japan, in 2005. I had just gotten home from a busy day at work. Tired and hungry, I started to walk to the store to find some supper. I traveled down the quiet city streets where I could smell barbecue meat, vegetables, rice, and miso soup drifting out kitchen windows everywhere. I wondered what I would eat. Lost in my own thoughts, I heard something crying. I looked down to see a tiny white kitten with black spots. He looked like a cow kitty. He leapt up into my arms and nuzzled into my armpit. So that's the beginning of my story. As I read this to you, are you able to get a picture in your mind of what this must have looked like for me? Okay, I don't want you commenting right now because we're still recording, but I want you to think a little bit about this. So as I read this, were you able to kind of feel warm summer night air? Everybody knows what that feeling is. Okay, you know what it's like to have a busy day, maybe not at work, but at school. You know what it's like when you get home and you're tired and hungry. Okay, and I still had to go out and get supper. I didn't have supper at home. I had to go to the store and find something. I didn't have a car, so I had to walk or ride my bike. I decided to walk. Okay, the street was quiet, but families were cooking everywhere. All right, and some of the things that they would cook was some kind of meat or teriyaki meat or vegetables, rice, miso soup. These are all very distinct smells. They're all very specific smells that you could smell walking in the city where I lived in Japan that time. Okay, and I was, how you're just at the end of the day maybe daydreaming a little bit, thinking a little bit to yourself. That's what I was doing. So that's why I said lost in my own thoughts. Then I heard something crying. Something gets your attention. It might be somebody says your name. It might be a dog barks. Well, this was a teensy little cry. And I looked down, and it was just that tiny white kitten with black spots. Okay, and I like to describe him as a cow kitty because that's really how he looked to me. Okay, and then that kitty just leapt up into my arms and he nuzzled right in. Okay, and so that sets the stage for my story. So what you guys are going to do, actually, is I'm going to give you this paper here, and I'm going to give you a copy of my story. So you can see if you are able to pull out the things that I see, the things that I hear, the things I smell or taste, and the things that maybe I feel. Okay, I'm going to give you about 10 or 15 minutes to work on that, and then we're actually going to look at how close you came, because this is what I'm going to need you to do for your story, too, when you get ready to really strengthen the setting in your own story at the beginning. Are there any questions?